Decision versus skill-based errors. Okay, so some of you may have never considered this, but there are basically two kinds of errors in the world. There are skill-based errors, so you made a mistake because you're not perfect at doing a skill, passing, setting, serving, whatever it is. And then there are decision-based errors. I should never have attempted that particular skill in this situation because of X, Y, or Z. So basically, what you need to think about, the reason this is such an incredibly valuable concept that you must understand if you want to get better quickly, is this question. How much better would you instantly be? No further training. Don't have to jump higher. Don't have to run faster. Don't have to grow taller. How much better would you instantly be if you got rid of half of your errors? So consider the world like this. Let's say there are all the mistakes that you make in total. Maybe half of them are skill-based. You just tried something that was just too tough for you. Maybe half of them are decision-based. I got a secret. I don't think that's true. I think that way more than half the errors we make in sports are decision-based. But let's just pretend like it's half and half. So the thing that you need to consider is if half my errors are based on my decisions, not my ability, not my skill, half my errors are based on my decisions, I control half my errors with no further need for skills or acquisition of speed, agility, talent, anything. You actually are in control of half the errors in your game. And again, my personal opinion, way more than half. But we're just making it simple, half and half. Okay, how much better would you instantly be if you got rid of half your errors? You'd be amazing compared to whatever you are now. So, let's get to the three different kinds of errors. Skill-based, we talked about that. Decision-based, and then the tricky one. The one that's both are kind of debatable. Like, was it skill-based? Was it decision-based? I'm not sure. So let's talk about some skills and make sure you understand this concept. So again, I do something. Did I make a mistake because I wasn't good enough or because I shouldn't have tried it in that instance? Okay, let's talk about passing. Okay, so I go to pass a ball. I make a mistake. Was it a skill-based error, a decision-based error, or was it kind of both? Well, let's talk about this situation because you always have to. All right, you're passing. It is a game you need to win. It is late in the game. Pressure's on. You know that your passing has not been perfect. It also hasn't been awful. It's a very blah, kind of day. So when you go to pass a ball, you know that it is not usually going to get right where you put it. It's going to be okay in probably this big 8-foot, 9-foot area. Let's just say that's the situation. Well, if it's late in the game and you need these points, and you then make the mistake of aiming for perfect, knowing that you have been an 8-foot radius kind of person, well, sounds like half your balls are going over the net and half your balls are great passes. Now, some people are willing to make that bet because on the 50-50 chance that they get a great pass, they're like, yeah, hero. And when the ball goes over, they go, what are you going to do? Sometimes things happen. Well, that would be a decision-based error. Now, I'm not saying you're going to make the mistake because, again, it could have been on the front half of that 8 feet and stayed on your side of the net and you would have been a genius. In which case, I guess you could say, based on my skills, I'm amazing, even though the chances were 50-50. So, in that instance, I would caution you about aiming for perfect. I would aim further off the net so that every ball in that 8-foot radius was settable. You may get a couple that are 8 feet off the net. You may get one that's a dime right on your setter's forehead. But in all instances, you weren't bad. And that's important late in the game. About half the instances, you get a pretty good set out of it, which is exactly the same percentage chance you had before. Except in the other one, where you're aiming right on, half of them went over. In this instance, half of them are just like really passes, 5 to 8 feet off the net. I love the player, and all coaches love the player that gives me a chance to win all the time, not half. So when you're passing and you make an error, you have to consider, what were you aiming for? Did you try to bite off more than you could chew all the time, which would put you pretty squarely in the decision-based error camp? Or did you just make an error because you screwed up? Well, that's where this debatable in both comes in. Let's go on to another skill. Setting. So let's say you're a setter and it's time to set the ball back. Now I know that for all setters on planet Earth, back setting started as a challenge. And for more than half the setters on Earth, that is not necessarily a challenge anymore, but it's not their favorite set. We can't see it, some of us can't really feel it, we have to turn around and look and see how we did. It is a set that is more stressful than most for a lot of setters, and that's fair. So when you're setting, let's say you choose to back set. Again, at the same instance, late in the game, sometime you have to win. Let's say all your hitters are equal. You have someone in the middle, it's a good pass, so you can set them. Someone on the outside, and someone behind you. You choose to go back. Well, if you know that's not your best set, and you know you need a point, and the point doesn't work out, I would say that that's a decision-based error. I would have gone something I'm a little stronger with. Now, let's say the situation changes. Same point in the game, still have to win, but your best hitter's behind you, and your outside hitter has been having a really rough game, and your middle's late or the pass isn't good enough, giving you really only one decent shot at somebody that's able to hit the ball. Now if you back set, I don't think that's a bad decision at all. If you mess it up, it's just because you weren't that good at it. It's skill-based, and that's okay. One of the things you need to realize is that skill-based errors aren't, I don't want to give you permission to make any error you want ever, but I do want to give you permission to know that there are things that are beyond your ability, and it's okay, you're not going to be perfect. I mean, look at free throw shooting in the NBA. These guys are paid millions and millions of dollars, and nobody has gone a season ever, or come even close, have made every free throw shot that they are ever given. It's because we're going to make errors. Even when we're good enough, we're just going to screw things up sometimes. So I don't want you to think you can never make an error, because you're going to. What I want you to consider is the decisions you make, are they leading to errors, or do you just make some mistakes because it's a little beyond you, you made a mistake that time, you lost your focus, whatever it is. Or is it a little bit of both? So let's go back to the set. My only real option's behind me, and so if you set it back then, if there's an error made, skill-based, not decision-based, because that was the only real hitter you had. When all three are equal opportunity, I would go away from my weakness at a point that I needed points quickly at the end of an important game, and I would go somewhere else. So I would say that would be a decision-based error if you set back and made a mistake at that point. How about the next skill? Hitting. So, you've been told that the line is being left open for you, like 4 feet of line. Go hit it, kiddo. Your coach, your teammates are all telling you to get the line. Okay, great. Now, when you go to hit the line, are you hitting like the narrowest of gaps, like to aim right for the line, or are you aiming somewhere line-ish? Well, if you're aiming for the line, I'm telling you right now, that's a decision-based error, because you are not that good. I love you. I don't know you. I just know humans.